Hi, this is Cheryl St.Pierre. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this finger swirl pendant. And it's been a process figuring out how I wanted this pendant. And I'll just show you. This was my very first one I made. And I've made some changes to it. But this is pretty too. And I'm showing that I used a variety of sizes of beads. So you can play around with the beads you use. Here I've used a small rondelle. Here I used a coin bead. Here I used a small round. I find it hard to do this little beads. You're better off having a bigger bead or doing something like this. This one, I used two 8 by 6 millimeter rondelles, and it gave the length. And that's when, with this one, I came up with adding these extra swirls in here, and it just added so much to it, as so you can see the different varieties I've made. So play with the beads. Don't just do what I did. Yes, it turned out lovely. The heart one turned out really pretty too. I love it. Okay, so I think that's all I need to talk about that, but I just wanted to prompt you to subscribe if you haven't. I encourage you to support me by joining my paid memberships. I recommend the one with retired videos. That way you have all of my videos. You get everything. And it's $4.99 a month, and it really helps me out a lot. So, okay, let's get on with the show, and we'll start making this beautiful pendant. Okay, so what I'm using today for this pendant is my chain nose pliers, flush cutters, and round nose pliers. And the only thing you really need your ruler for is just to measure out the length of your 20 gauge wire, which is 0.81 millimeters in diameter. And I'm using 31 inches because this is the biggest bead that I've made with this design, and I'm hoping 31 inches is long enough. Otherwise, I'll be remaking the video. And this is a 18 by 25 oval, and this is a disc bead, which the other ones I made weren't disc beads. This is a 12 millimeter in diameter disc bead. And in case you're wanting to know, this is sunstone. It's got that flash to it, so it's really pretty. And okay, so what I want you to do is, I'm not sure if I mentioned that this is 31. I did mention that it's 31 inches, but which is 77.5 centimeters for those of metric. So, you know, depending on what your bottom bead is will affect how much wire you use. And yeah, there's a great variation in this. So it uses a lot of wire. Okay, so I want you to take your round nose pliers. I'm going to set these aside. And your wire, I want you to figure out the approximate middle. I gave it a bend. This is really long, so it's fighting with the phone. And we're going to make a loop. Now you have to excuse my voice. I'm dealing with a little bit of asthma today, although it's better than it was a few weeks ago. Okay, and make yourself a nice neat loop. I'm just using tension, pulling, and then twisting about 2.5 times, because I want the loop facing this way, and I want the wires facing one at the front and one at the back, not side to side. And I'm just gonna, that looks good. Okay, and then your bead will go on the front wire, your big oval bead. And you've got to figure out at this point what you want at the front, you know, if one side of your bead's prettier than the other, and what you want at the back. Mine are pretty equal, so it doesn't really matter, but some stones it really makes a huge difference. Okay, so now just gonna straighten this. We're just gonna make these look like that so we can twist them and give it about 3 nice twists. And again, we want front and back, and then the little disc bead is going to go on the front wire. And then we're going to do the same thing all over again, and we want the back wire to be a little bit on the right hand side, and we're going to make it so it twists this way. We want it twisting in a clockwise manner to get the right shape, because that will dictate whether we get the coil on, I mean the design on this side of the bead. Okay, so now we're going to, how do I want to do this? We're going to bend it. Actually, this will make it easier. You're going to grab your twist with your chain nose pliers like that and bend it like that forward. And then take your round nose pliers, and at the biggest point of it, we're going to make a loop. So the biggest loop you can possibly make on your round nose pliers is what I'm saying. Okay, and then we're going to, how do I want this? Yes, take it just the normal way on the left-hand side. I mean, left-hand side of the twisting. And bring it around, wrap like that. Okay, so it's like that. And now we're doing our finger swirls. So I don't want the difference of a telephone where the camera sits, makes it so I'm not centered to the camera. My brain just automatically wants me to center to it, and it isn't accurate. Okay, so I want this curve. You could do in the center on both sides, but I think it looks better when you do a little bit above the center on this side and a little bit below the center. It just gives a design, nice design element. So I'm just twisting it around like this and going down like this. And now this is a little bit kinked up, so I'm going to straighten that. Okay, so, and I'm straightening this, because if you don't keep those things straight, you end up with one side tighter than the other, and then it will be awkward looking. Okay, so now I'm just wrapping around the twisting there, and then this is where we do the double circle. And so again, I'm adjusting so everything's sitting nice. And see how the circle tightened up already from me doing that? So I started out a little bit further and it worked its way in. And this one will do that too. So if you really don't want it covering the stone too much, don't go too close. I like it covering the stone a little. It helps keep the stone in place too. So you're going to do a smaller loop like that, and then a larger loop around it, and I'm using tension as well as pulling just to make it nice and round. Okay, so you have the license of design to choose whether you want it bigger, smaller, closer together, because if you notice this one's nice and close, I'm choosing this one to be further apart because I have a bigger stone. So, but this one, I kind of did both. I did close there and further apart there. And I dropped it on the floor. Maybe that's what I'll do here too. Okay, and then, so it's going to be sitting like that. And it really changes the design element of the stone. Okay, and now I'm going as close to the bead as possible. I'm holding this with my thumb where I want it to hopefully stay, and wrapping around. And we're going to the back again because we don't want the wire up front. And so I'm flipping it over to the back, and see where the wire was. We're going to go up that again. Okay, so we would have been coming from this side, so we would have been coming over. So we're coming up and over. And I'm just going to pause. I want to check something. Okay, so what I was checking is where I went in order to do this loop. And so we're going to go high, and then we're going to do the loop. Now I'm having to use my thumb to help make that loop. See, like that. And then I want the next loop just below the center of this bead. There. Okay. And then I'm going around like this, making sure it's sitting straight. Okay. And then I go, oops, get back in the camera. Going around the back, make sure my bill's sitting straight. And then doing a small loop up like that. So I went all the way around, making the loop, holding that loop in place, and going to the back again. So it looks like that. And I noticed that this wire moved in, and I need to pull it apart. And we have the ability to do that because it'll just make this loop a little bit tighter. We just need to adjust everything, and because it's gonna be, you're gonna be fine-tuning the adjustments as you go. And now we're gonna snip. See, I didn't have too much extra. We're gonna snip it so it's about 1 centimeter in length. Of extra. Okay, and then we're going to make loops at the end of the wire, just so that nobody gets hurt by the ends of the wire. So make the loop and have the wire touch itself on both of them, and then we'll find a place to tuck them in. And we're going to just tuck them in, tug them down a little bit there. Don't really want it showing too much at the front, but if it does, it's not going to be the end of the world, but you can push it down with your pliers so that it's out of sight as much as possible. Now, because it has a tendency of moving, I'm just going to pause. I'm going to get my rawhide mallet, or, well, we could do the end of the pliers too. If you have your rawhide mallet, I won't put it in the instructions. You can tap it, but you can do this with the side like this, because it shouldn't mar it at all, because there's nothing sharp there. And it's just going to work hard in it so it stays in place a little bit better. Make the necklace a little bit stronger. And you could do this, I won't do it as long on the video, but you can do it until you feel it's strong enough, and as long as you're not doing it hard that you're gonna distort your necklace. Okay, so the last step, you could use this loop to have another dangle, but I like it better when it's just going to the back. That's why I made it longer, so it could bend to the back, and it gives a cleaner look at the bottom. So it just gives that swirl there, a nice look. And now it's ready to put a chain on. Like that. Isn't that pretty? Turned out really nice. Well, this is the conclusion of this video, and I'd like to encourage you to join my paid membership where you'll get all my videos, and encourage you to subscribe as well, because then you get notifications of when my new videos come out, and as well as you know, like and say hi, and God bless you all. Take care. See you in the next one. Bye for now.